so we're getting towards the end. And the last topic, we're gonna briefly touch on it. We're not gonna go into too much detail for this. Um, is viruses. We learned viruses are not considered living. And the reason for that is they don't eat food, they don't grow, they can't do anything unless they're inside the host, inside the body. So viruses come in different shapes. That's a different shape. This is a bacteriophage. That's another shape. This is crown shape. And that's where the name for coronavirus comes from. It's a crown shaped virus. So that's where we got the name from. So they come in different shapes and different sizes. The reason you wear a mask for coronavirus is so the virus wouldn't get inside your body. So the main openings where the virus can get inside the host is, your nose, your mouth, your ears, and your eyes. So we're covering our, nose and mouth because we're breathing in, and it's easier for the virus to get in our body. So the coronavirus cannot do anything unless it's, inside your body. Once it's inside, it's going to go into your cell, and it's going to start using the cell machinery to do the transcription and translation. It doesn't have anything of its own. So it's going to use your machinery to do the transcription and then the translation. And it's going to make copies of itself using that. And then the new viruses, they start leaving the cell, and they can go impact the other cells, because it takes time for the replication. It takes time for you to find out that you have a viral infection. So that's why even for coronavirus, the detection time is 10 to 14 days. So here, there are two pathways the viruses can follow. So this one here, virus gets inside the host body, and then it makes the copies. When those viruses start to leave, they penetrate the cell wall, lysis, breakdown. They break down the cell wall, the cell dies. Now these can go impact all other cells. And this is when you start feeling the fever and start getting the chills if you had the flu or the viral flu, and that's already, kind of too late. So it didn't start on that day, maybe started before. This is when all the viruses already left the cell and started impacting multiple cells in your body. So this is a lytic pathway. I don't need you to know the details for these. I'm not going to ask you the details. I only want you to know what the difference is between these two. Lytic pathway, lytic means lysis. Lysis means breakdown. It breaks down the cell wall of the cell and leaves. Lysogenic pathway, if you notice here, viral DNA is inside the host cell, and that viral DNA gets inserted inside the host DNA. So you can see that here. Each time host makes copy of its own DNA, the viral DNA gets copied. So it's gonna start making multiple copies. So if someone has cervical cancer, they have their cells that are dividing uncontrollably. And if they don't take care of that, it's gonna go and spread in other parts of the body. Also, this type of virus, they hide as they replicate. So another example would be, HPV, human papilloma virus, or HIV. So they hide in the body, and each time person makes their copy of their own cell, it gets copied, or it causes the cells to just divide and divide and divide. So people like Charlie Sheen and Magic Johnson, they had HIV. Now they're completely healthy. So do you guys think that this got cured? Are they completely cured?
No, ma'am.
No, they're not completely cured. The reason they're completely healthy, and even if you tested them for HIV, the test would come out negative. And the reason for that is your body makes these antibodies to basically, for the infection. And because they're so rich, they can afford these best drugs that can knock down the virus. So the virus is hiding. So it knocks it down. Now their own body doesn't need to make any antibodies. Therefore, when you test them for HIV, the test comes negative because the test is only testing for antibodies, not testing for the virus. So that's why they're healthy, because they can afford those very, very expensive antiviral drugs. And again, antiviral drugs gonna work for the virus. Antibiotics work for bacterial infections. So make sure you know the difference. So HIV, it remains latent, means you can't really, detect it right away. It takes time, so it doesn't show the symptoms right away. And I believe that, I think HIV is a retrovirus. Retrovirus means it's, we learned that it goes from transcription then to translation. This retrovirus goes inside the cell, inside the cytoplasm, does the translation, then the transcriptions going opposite pathway. So it's HIV or retrovirus. Then we talk about vaccines. So when I said you're wearing a mask so you won't get sick, it's not just that you won't get sick, it's that if you have the disease, you also don't want the other person getting sick. So that's how the vaccines work too. It doesn't work unless the entire population have it. So maybe you're a healthy person, and if you get the flu, you're probably going to recover maybe in, a week or so. But if you are next to this child who's immunocompromised, it can kill them. So if you're not wearing a mask, it can probably kill them, or an elderly who doesn't have a good immune system. So vaccines, they have to be given to the entire population. Vaccines, they are inactive part of the virus, and once they are inserted in your body or inside your body, they're going to stimulate an immune response that's going to create these memory cells that remember the type of infection it is, and that way when you get the infection, your immune response is very quick, so it takes care of it right away. So antiviral drugs, like I said, they are difficult to develop because viruses, they mutate very, very quickly. So if not everybody's getting the vaccine, the virus, as it goes from person to person, it's going to start mutating. Then you have to make another antiviral drug. And that's why these companies, the biotech companies, they're making a lot of money, because every time a virus mutates or bacteria mutates, it's going to have to come up with a new drug, and the previous one doesn't work. So for the vaccine, for the flu vaccine, they look at the viruses that can, maybe in China, that's going to make its way to United States. So they collect the data, and they start giving the vaccines for the type of flu that has the possibility of, high possibility that people are going to get sick from it. So I encourage people, sometimes people say that they, once they get the vaccine, they get very sick, they get, the actual disease. But I want to tell you, it's not the actual virus they're giving you the inactive part of the virus that's just gonna stimulate an immune response. So I encourage you guys to get the vaccine if you have availability of it. And then I want you to remember that antibiotics do not work against viruses. For viruses, we have antiviral drugs. Antibiotics are for bacterial infections. Last topic we have is virions. All I want you to know about virions, it's our circular DNA, or RNA. So virions are circles of RNA. They do not encode for any proteins, but they do use still like the host. They still use the host machinery to replicate, and they can interfere with the protein making ability of the host. So the RNA, it's a circular RNA that can impact the ability to make proteins. And here is a healthy potato. Here is a virion infected potato. So they're still using the host to replicate. Last slide. It's a prion. Prion is a misfolded protein. This is a normal protein. This is abnormal protein. This misfolded. Every time this abnormal shape comes in contact with the normal shape, it's going to turn this normal shape into abnormal. So it's very, very dangerous. So prion is a normal cellular protein that sometimes adopt abnormal shape. Upon contact with abnormally formed prion, a normal prion is going to switch to abnormal shape. So this is called mad cow disease. So if there's a slaughterhouse where this disease has been detected, they're going to completely euthanize all the livestock there. They're going to kill all the cows or all the livestock that's there, because this is very, very, very dangerous. So just, just by coming in contact with this normal protein turns into that shape as well. So that's called mad cow disease.